Be nice. All right, and we are live here
Hi.
for Honest Hour with Steph, a stand-up comedian out there on the West Coast. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. It's good to see you. It's been years.
I know it's been entirely too long.
I know. Holy shit.
As you get ready to travel here.
Yeah. No. Back to the stomping grounds.
Get back to where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's where you're originally from. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what was growing up in Newburgh like for you?
It was how do I even describe that? I don't know. Informative. I'll say that. Eh,
Informative?
Very informative years, as you know.
Yeah. Informative is a good word for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, what were some of your interests growing up in
Oh,
Newburgh?
I did a lot of theater. I did a lot of theater, and I played guitar. I was into music. That was mostly it. It was mostly just acting and music.
Okay, so was that where you found within yourself, kind of like a transition to comedy? Was within all of that?
I'm very sure it all led up to that at some point because about 10 years ago, I moved to LA for acting. And then I was like doing small projects here and there, but nothing was taken off. And I really missed like doing live theater, but there's not much of a theater community out here as it is in New York. So I kind of just fell into doing stand-up comedy. I was like, well, that's a stage. I can figure out jokes.
So
Mhm.
that's how you. So, were there any inspirations behind that? Did you like see anyone and say, okay, you know, I could, I can kind of improvise on that behalf, or was it just like you said, I could tell jokes and you just went with it?
Well, have you ever been to an open mic?
Not for comedy, music, yes.
Well, when you go to an open mic for comedy, that's where you really found your confidence, and you're just like, yeah, I could probably do that too. It doesn't. Yeah, it's fine. I'll be okay.
So, okay, so you went to an open mic, and
Mhm.
that's where you found your confidence. So, what do you do if they don't laugh?
Nowadays I kind of have to like state the obvious. I'm like, all right, you clearly guys don't like me. Do you guys like me? Like,
and then
this is not working, is it? All right.
and then they laugh.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you break the ice.
Yeah.
So, kind of like, how do you develop your material? Because let's be honest, stand-up comedy is has been a, I won't say a dying breed, but it definitely went through a dead era, right? Uh,
Yeah. I
you
would say
know,
I went through a dead era.
like there was a time where just people weren't doing it,
Yeah. Hmm.
and now it seems like it's starting to really turn back, um, kind of turn back the hands of time and become a thing again.
Hmm.
So some comics have the grasp to push the envelope, right?
Hmm.
Mainly my favorite comic, Dave Chappelle. He pushes the envelope and he goes over it. He don't care.
Hmm.
He could care less. So how do you develop your material and your routine?
Just again, I just have to say, life itself. Life is pretty funny. Like the situations around me are funny, but most of all, I think my friends are really funny, and I talk about them a lot.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So you utilize kind of like real life experience in order
Yeah.
to just go through what you have
Yeah.
to get to where you want to go with your routine.
For sure.
Is it
For sure.
something
I
that
talk about
you
myself a lot.
Is it something that you write out, or is it just kind of off the cusp?
I try to write out everything, like ideas. I try to like spit them out. I try to work with the crowd first and see if there's something there. And if they laugh a little bit, that's when I'm like, oh, okay, I can expand on this. And it's a bunch of trial and error. But yeah, I write out a lot. I try to not do crowd work so much, but it's it's kind of a given that you kind of have to sometimes do crowd work just to get the crowd on your side so they know who you are, so you don't come off too much like an asshole, I guess.
Right. And how much of that is improvisation? Because, like if you write out a whole thing and you kind of like feel the room and it's not going the way that you planned it or you seen it, like how do you improvise on the spot? Because now you're going off of what you don't have written down.
hmm Well, then it's like I kind of just ask questions. I'm like, so I'm a bartender. Anybody else? I'm like, oh, nobody. Okay, so what do you do for a living? One of those things. What do you do for a living? Who are you here with? And then
Oh,
hopefully you can get something out.
do you ever point at anyone in the crowd and utilize them as kind of as like a I don't know what they would call it, but you see people they go and they're like, look at this guy, and his wife. Like it happened to my mom and her ex-husband because he was
Yeah.
white. And he was like the comic, I forget who they went to see, and was like, look at this white guy here with this black woman. He don't know what to do with her, kind of thing. You ever do anything crazy like that?
Yeah. I try to stay away from it because I don't want to I don't want to like throw somebody under the bus to get a cheap laugh. Just I don't know. But I have done that. It's usually if someone's like really a parent, like just dressed funky or it's heckling the fuck out of me, then I'm like, okay, fine. What do you want? What do you want out of this?
Right, right. So is that how you do
Mhm.
you get a lot of hecklers?
Oh yeah, I get heckled every show. There's never not been a night where I just did my set. I've always been heckled. Somebody just has something to say, and it's always me. It's always me. They just always want to talk to me while I'm doing jokes.
Just full blown conversation.
Yeah, like I had a few people like raise their hand, and I'm like, okay, yes, I'm taking questions. What is it?
And is it something that you can kind of incorporate into the routine?
At this point, it took me like years to get to there, but now it's just like, yeah, I can try to work with them. At this point, I just write jokes and then I try to figure out what will they heckle me about and then have a response to that. So it's just extra work I gotta do. I can't just do jokes.
Do these sets, are they timed? Like when you
Yeah,
do a set, they say you got 40 minutes, or they
yeah,
say you got 30 minutes.
yeah.
And
They're timed.
so what if you like haven't used all your time, but you've gone through your whole written material?
And then you kind of just work on something. Well, it's probably not a good thing to do, but you work on something that you have an idea about. You
Okay.
try to save your best for last. But if you know that you've got so much more time left, then you can just figure out your new material through there. It's not a good thing, but I try to utilize all my time the best as possible. There's only been a few times where I had to like really like improvise for like 10 minutes.
I'm like, just be like, all right.
hmm
So tell me about like like the first time you were on a stage. Maybe
hmm
not so well. All right. Tell me about the first open mic, and then tell me about the first time you were on the stage after you like had started getting some traction in this field.
hmm Well, what happened? I my first night I did two open mics. I did one at a place called Flappers in Burbank, where I didn't know what I was doing. It's my first time, but I tried to write jokes about like handshakes and huggers, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well. Like it didn't go. It didn't. I don't know. I didn't get that many laughs, but for some reason I was like not satisfied with that. So I moved on to another open mic, and I did the same thing because I don't know how to rewrite shit. I did
Yeah.
the same. I did the same jokes, and then everybody in that bar laughed.
Okay.
So that's when I was just like, okay, great. And that was when I got booked on my first show, and it was a mistake that I took it.
Oh wow. So what happened on the first show? Where's my pen?
The first show, well, the open mic, I had like maybe I had 5 minutes on stage, and I did my shitty material. But at the show, I had 8 minutes, which is a long time for somebody new. I had
Yeah.
8 minutes on stage, and then I think I did all of my material within like 4 minutes, and then I had so much more time left. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm done. So bye.
Oh man. Oh man.
Yeah.
So
Just Oh, and I will say that that show did not go well for me. No. Yeah, no, none of my new jokes landed in my two
so
weeks of comedy.
so were you nervous on that night when that happened?
Absolutely. I was scared shitless. I'm always nervous, honestly. Like on stage, like now, I'm always nervous. Anyway, it's a different kind of nervous, but back then it was just like hyperventilating, like nervous. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm gonna be on stage. I have a microphone. Everyone's gonna look at me. The lights. Am I ugly? I don't know, but okay.
But to me, when I was watching your jokes and your material, you seem very at ease.
Hmm.
Um, you seem
Thank you.
just very, very comfortable up
Thank
there.
you. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Just and it's nothing that comes overnight. It's nothing
Hmm.
that's easy to do. But you look very, very comfortable. Um, just telling those jokes, you know, and you're
Thank
hysterical.
you.
Hysterical.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Oh man, I was laughing. I'm
Appreciate
like,
you.
oh my gosh. No, I appreciate you. Absolutely. You and just so you know, you're the first comedian I've had on the show. So, you
Oh my
know.
god. Did you ever think I was funny back then?
You were real quiet when we were, growing up.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
You were very quiet. So like, it's always the quiet ones you gotta look out for.
Yes, that's what they say.
you know? So
Yes.
obviously, would you consider that time that you bombed? Would you say that you bombed, or would you just say that it just wasn't your night?
Oh no, I bombed. Oh no, that was a bomb. I was bombing. I bet since then I was like I had been bombing for 2 years until like the third year I like figured it out. I'm like, oh, I figured it out comedy, and then like the next night I bombed. It's
Did you ever go back and look at other comedians, not to take jokes, but to just kind of get an idea of some of the things they did to help with your act?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was watching comedy like nonstop for years. Just watching them, I'm like, what are they doing that I'm doing wrong? What are they doing better that I'm not? So just like watching like professionals work and watching open micers work, like you learn a lot. It's like, oh, okay. If you were to write it like that, if she were to do it this way, it might work out. And if I did it my way, but this way, and I tweak that, it'll be better. It's a lot of learning, a lot of listening.
So I don't know if you've ever watched this show before, but I like to play a game called Honest Picks.
Okay.
And being that you're my guest tonight and that you are a comedian,
Hmm.
um, I have acquired a list of comedians. I'm going to name two. You tell me which one you like over the other one.
Okay.
It's based on personal preference. People be thinking there's rules. It's just personal preference.
Hmm.
So, Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy?
Oh, fuck. Fuck.
Right off the bat, right?
Fuck. Oh my god. Well, like I grew up with Eddie Murphy, but I love Richard Pryor. But like I grew up with Eddie Murphy.
Richard Pryor really broke the barrier,
Yeah, he
right?
did. Yeah.
Broke the barrier. He was saying things people like weren't allowed to say,
Oh
right?
yeah. He's
You
talking
know?
about sucking dick and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, damn, this dude's mad out of pocket.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Respect. I respect him so much. But yeah, he's great.
Well, you didn't pick one.
I did. I said Eddie Murphy.
You did say okay.
Just
I
because I
didn't.
grew up with him.
Martin Lawrence or Chris Rock?
Chris Rock.
Bernie Mac or Dave Chappelle?
Dave Chappelle.
Bill Cosby or Jerry Seinfeld?
Is this a trick question? Jerry Seinfeld.
For me, you know, I don't think Seinfeld's funny, but you know, for some people,
Yeah.
Seinfeld and Bill Cosby are in the same echelon because there are people who don't think Bill Cosby's funny.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I never really I knew who Bill Cosby was, but I never really followed his comedy growing up.
You know, I am still an avid watcher of the Cosby Show. It is one of my favorite ones, no matter what. And he's just hysterical in his own way.
Yeah.
And he does it without cursing, without swearing. He's just a golden treasure, if you will.
Yeah, that's what I heard. He's great with clean comedy. Clean comedy is really hard, and he's nailed it.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah,
almost impossible. No sexual innuendos, no cursing, none of that. Just damn.
Yeah, no, that's a skill on its own. So,
Roseanne or Wanda Skies?
Wanda.
Robin Williams or Jim Carrey?
Robin Williams.
Adam Sandler or Drew Carey?
Adam Sandler.
Marlon Wayans or Damon Wayans?
Marlon.
Eddie Griffin or Sinbad?
Sinbad.
D.L. Hughley or Steve Harvey?
Steve Harvey. This is up in that one's up in the air for me. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Cat Williams or Kevin Hart?
Cat Williams.
All right, this one I'm taking it back. I had to throw a few in here for the ladies. Right. Betty White or Lucille Ball?
Betty White.
Everyone loves Betty White. I wish she could have made it to 100. I do.
She's a national treasure for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Monique or Sherry Shepherd?
Monique.
Tracy Ellis Ross or Cheryl Underwood?
Tracy.
Kim Whitley or Jackie Harry?
Kim Whitley.
I think outside of the first one, you handled that well. If you ever have a chance, go back and look at when I play that game with certain people. I had my buddy Ahmad on here. His stage name's Hood Soul. And the first question, he's a hip hop artist. So the first question was Biggie or Tupac. And that's like a generic one. And he's just like, he was like stressed. He was like legitimately stressed. And he's like, bro, I can't pick between these two. This is bull. And I'm just like, yo, I didn't think he was that stressful. And he was stressed out.
That was. The first one was so stressful. I was like, shit. I get it.
You know, there was a few other ones because he's like a big hip hop head. So I really just started pulling on my old hip hop brain here. And he's just like, no, why did you do this? The people in the comments were yelling at me. Like it just was like, Jesus.
Goodness.
Have you ever had anything embarrassing happen to you on stage?
Anything embarrassed other than bombing so hard?
Yeah, anything outside of bombing. Have you had anything embarrassing happen? You tripped or fell or you spilled something, water on yourself, anything crazy or embarrassing?
No, not really. Not really. I've never, other than bombing, no, nothing. No, I can't recall. I've had people boo me.
Oh.
Like a whole room just boo me. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Oh. And how did you, so was that early on or towards what part of that did that happen?
Super early on, my first year. I should not be doing these kind of shows my first year. I don't know how I ended up in these situations on these great shows while I had zero skill set whatsoever.
So
So,
I I just started using StreamYard. I still
mm-hmm,
haven't figured everything out. So I have my Facebook open where the viewers are.
mm-hmm.
My buddy R&B wants to know. I want to know how she bombed. I don't think he tuned. He was watching when you said it. So if you don't mind, could you just tell again how you bombed?
Like just one of my just my first bomb or just like the worst bomb or
Well, yeah, either you could do the what's the worst one? You did the first one, so let's do the worst one. Why not?
my worst bomb, like this still haunts me to this day. I was doing the show called I'm a Basshole, which pretty much you're a comedian. You have to tell a story about a time you were an asshole.
Okay.
And then I talked about a story about in college how I hooked up with my professor and he was married.
Oh,
But like
okay.
when I was telling that story, I think that's probably my most asshole moment. But the thing I forgot to do was make it funny. So people are just like kind of listening to me in horror. Just straight up silence. Even when I like walked off stage, just no claps. Just like, wow, this girl needs to go to hell. Like,
He I wish you could see what he's doing. I don't know if you can see it, but you see
I
he's got
can't.
the wow emojis just like he's done like 30 of them. Like
Oh
like
my god.
oh my gosh. I wasn't expecting that. She
Yeah.
said it like it was so normal. Like I hooked up with my professor and he was married.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably my most asshole moment in my life.
Wow, that's a lot of sin.
Listen, like I was on his point of view, I was just a numbers game. He won the lottery that night. Is the thing. They're not together anymore, so it's okay. I can talk about it.
Lord, you know, that's wild.
Yeah, my bad.
Nah, it's all good. He wrote she's a legend in the comments.
Ah! Shit.
God, and he oh God. I don't even know if I want to ask that question, but
What?
oh God. He goes, was it good? And he's got like this emoji with the eyes.
Nah. I was like 21. Nah, it wasn't good.
Oh my gosh. He just, and I know when I go to clip this for future reference, this
God.
segment is going to come up. I just have that feeling.
Oh
And it's just,
dear.
yeah, I clip these episodes and then I put them out just so to get algorithm and things of that nature.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
great. Amazing.
and it's just like it's gonna come up like, yeah, but you know what? I guarantee it'll be the most watched clip. I hooked up with my professor and he was married, and everyone's gonna be like, whoa, I want to find that
Whoa.
episode.
All right, whatever. I live in infamy, I guess, on the internet. I hope not, but whatever.
Is it hard to develop a unique comedic voice now hold on, because so much has happened? And what I mean when I say that is, so many people have done this, and this is one of those things where you always have to reinvent yourself. You always
Mm-hmm.
have to find a way to do something that hasn't been done before, say
Mm-hmm.
something that hasn't been said before, because that's hard. We heard Cat Williams very deeply speak about Cedric the Entertainer stealing jokes.
Mm-hmm.
He blew up the world in January on Club Shay Shay. So do you
Mm-hmm.
find it hard to find your own voice in your own lane in this field?
Um, yes and no. I think the hardest thing about comedy is knowing who you are. That's the hardest thing about doing stand-up comedy because if you don't know who you are, it's never gonna work out. So since you're constantly changing, but you gotta be aware of that, you have to find a way to like let people know. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. You, I think people do things not knowing who they are, and I think part of you has to be comfortable, not just knowing who you are, but being comfortable with who you are.
Exactly.
Because honestly, you have to really put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like you listen to some of these stories that these guys tell. Like
Mhm.
like there's a couple that stick out in my head, right? So
Yeah.
like I use like this one where Kevin Hart was talking about about his best friend Harry, and
Mhm.
he's like, and how he came home, his wife was mad. Who were you with, and all this stuff, and he's like, I call Harry, and then the first thing I say is, don't lie. Now let's stop right there. You know, what's the first thing you do? What's don't lie mean? That means lie. Lie. He's like, Harry,
Mm,
where we coming from? And he's like, man, you was with the bitch with the fat ass. And he's like, no, 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 no. And it's just like, to take
oh my god.
things that you've been through
Mhm.
and to portray, because people don't understand. Like, people be like, never trust a comedian, but a comedian's gonna be the most honest person. They're just,
Yeah.
using their honesty to make you laugh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people don't understand that.
Mhm. No, they don't. People get offended a lot lately. They be offended.
Oh, it's terrible. It's
I
so
know.
bad. Just everyone's so sensitive. Like when I started at work at
Mhm.
my job, like everyone was like so, I don't want to say tense. They weren't tense, but they weren't used to crude humor. So
Yeah.
like I'll make some racial humor, or I'll make some,
Mhm.
some uncomfortable humor. And at first everyone's just like, what is wrong? And then after a while, they just kind of was like, now everyone just laughs. They're just like,
Yeah.
this is who I am now. Everyone's comfortable with the
Yeah.
uncomfortable jokes, So,
Yeah.
it's just something that's, you just gotta get people to lighten up.
Yeah. You gotta get them lighten up, and they gotta know who you are. So they
Yeah,
can at least
exactly.
know you're just kidding, man. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah. I don't really think you're an asshole. I'm just
Thank
joking.
you. I was just kidding.
So, what is your favorite set or show that you've done?
Favorite show?
Yeah,
Ooh,
if you had to pick one.
there was this one show that I did. I think it was like 300 people, and it was like up north in California in just some bumfuck town. It was basically the whole town was there. And
Okay,
I was told it was gonna be like maybe 100, but then I walked in and there was like 300, and it was the biggest crowd I've played at that point in my career.
nice.
And they were all fantastic. They were fantastic, and I remember just thinking, I don't. They gave me like 20 minutes. I think I had maybe 15, and I was just like, I'm gonna have to crowd work this shit for a little while, and they loved it. And then I did all my jokes, and they were great.
Wow. So they really took to it.
Yeah.
What was that nerve wracking? Because now you're
Hmm.
mentally expecting this amount,
Hmm.
and you
Yeah.
get there and you're like, oh. Because
Yeah.
like if you're prepared for 100 people, and now there's an extra 200 people, that's
Hmm.
an extra 200 people that can shift the momentum the wrong way. They can shift
Hmm.
it the right way, but they can also shift it the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
So, so like did that add nervousness? Because you said you're nervous during before each show, but did that add to it?
It did, and it's mostly because like these people were not my crowd. They were much older than me. Like I can hit my age gap of people, my generic what I don't even know how to call it, my crowd. I can hit them real good. But then I walked in, I'm just like, dude, everyone looks like they like have jobs and shit and houses. Like I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk to them about, but they loved it.
Oh man. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face being a stand-up comedian?
Challenges. There's always challenges. There's always just like, developing better material, being a better writer, being good at what I do, getting noticed, making friends. Like there's always I don't know if that's even a good answer, but there's
I mean,
always there's always challenges, yeah.
yeah. Well, I would, because I wouldn't say there's no such thing as a bad answer. It's your answer, right? It's an answer to
Mm-hmm.
the question. I would just say, I think everything has its advantages, disadvantages,
Mm-hmm.
challenges, and things like that. And I would say, from what I see, is that you're growing into your own, and
Mm-hmm.
you're becoming this person, and like you said, is maybe just finding what's next and what's next and what's next.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's the good thing is you're not doing something that everyone does. I think you're the only person I can think of offhand that I know who does stand-up comedy. like like it's
Oh boy.
I had a barber when I lived in
Mm-hmm.
Ellenville. He always used to say, "Yo, man, I do this open mic night. You should come because you're funny." I'm like, oh. Like in a room here or with friends, I can be hysterical. I got jokes for days, but you want to get me, in front of people, and you want to get me talking, and you want to get
Mm-hmm.
me laughing. Yeah, nah, I'm good,
Yeah.
bro.
That's
Yeah,
how it started with me. I know what you're saying. Like before I started doing stand up, I was just like, I don't know, man. Like I'm like living room funny. I'm not stand up comedian
that's
funny.
perfect to say. Kind of like you ever watch that episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air where DL Hughley comes in as a special character for the episode.
I
He's in
don't know.
LA. He's in LA and
Mm-hmm.
he's going to do a stand-up thing. He's trying out for the stand-up showcase.
Yeah.
Well, they get to the place, Will Smith, he's there. Obviously, he's a comedian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he gets there and the lady comes out and is like, oh, he's like, I'm not trying out. She goes, oh, what I heard was good enough. He gets up there, he bombs. People boo the crap out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Hughley's character comes in and saves the day. And he just says, oh, I work hard for this. You can't just go up there and say what you say over here and it'd be funny. It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think about it. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference between me talking to just like you or whoever and me just saying something funny off the cusp.
Yeah.
But a good joke. Actually, I want. You know what? I don't even want to say it because I just thought of that question. For you, what is the essential parts to a good joke?
The essential parts? Oh, there's the setup and then the punchline. Those are the essential.
Because sometimes setups, right?
Mm-hmm.
The punchline's only as good as the setup, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because like sometimes a joke can take 2 to 3 minutes to set up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, and then you get to that punchline. Like, is there a high level of difficulty sometimes determining setups and determining how long to make a joke? And is there such thing as too long of a joke?
Oh yeah, there is such thing as too long of a joke, especially too long of a setup. Because if your setup is just boring and long, just people are just gonna tune out. So the best thing you can do is figure out how to say all of that shit in like 2 sentences.
Oh, so if you got a paragraph, let's say,
Oh, you
trying
gotta condense that shit.
you're like, yeah, because it's kind of like in people's attention spans are so short.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you're just like, oh, all right, well, you're not gonna say much. So yeah, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
keep going on.
Yeah, yeah.
What oh, yes, I asked that. What's the best part of being a comedian?
The best part of being a comedian? Sometimes you get free beer after a set as your payment. That's pretty cool.
Free beer.
Sometimes.
That's such a you answer though. Like you have not changed one bit. Like you are still the same you. Like I say that. Like you're just like whatever. Like
That's cool. First of all, I never thought I'd ever be doing this, but to get free beer for it, okay, I'll keep doing it. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but there's no money in comedy. Like you might get like 10, $20 sometimes in LA, especially in LA.
Yeah.
But free beer is free beer. Sometimes they'll even give you chicken nuggets and tenders and fries. Like
Hey,
sick.
you're like, hey, at least I get a meal. I can go home with a full belly. Uh,
Yup.
it's one of those. It's once again, it's one of those fields where it's hard. Like
Mhm.
it's not easy, and it takes years,
Yeah.
years of work.
Years. Mhm.
Like you don't, sometimes you get lucky, like Eddie Murphy was always funny, but let's be honest, without Delirious, if that never happened, if he was
Mhm.
ever able to put that together, and then Raw, some people like Raw better, but Delirious was top notch,
Yeah.
and
For
then you
sure.
look at those early movies like Coming to America, you know,
Mhm.
yes, yes, fuck you too, like
Yes.
Trading Places, and
Mhm.
his, Life. I mean, God, Life is one
Mhm.
of the best, and now he's just got that respect, right? He's just
Mhm.
got that high level of respect, but it took years.
Mhm. Years and years of hard work.
Hard work, dedication, because who else could take what he took like 12 years off, come back, and people missed Eddie Murphy.
Mhm. For
He
sure.
released that movie You People with Netflix. I can't lie, I was disappointed.
Ah, you
They,
people.
they toned him down, and I'm just like,
Mm.
yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
I don't need
Mhm.
this toned down Eddie Murphy. I want crazy Eddie. But hey, they got Shrek 5 coming out. Donkey.
Fuck yeah. I'm there for it.
What's the worst part of being a comedian?
Is that sometimes you get free beer and it's not good for your health.
Yeah, I like how your answers have absolutely nothing to do with it. Not, I'm something like, coming up with new material, or for the other question, making people laugh. Nope, just the beer and the food and not being good. It's good to get it, but it's bad to not have it be good.
The essentials of life.
Listen, I mean, you do need food and some kind of liquid, right?
Yep.
That's what they say.
God damn.
When you're on the stage, right?
Mhm.
Have you ever written your jokes and noticed that the jokes don't fit the crowd that's in
Mm.
front of
Yup. Absolutely.
you? So when that happens, what do you do? Do you can tell those jokes anyway?
Sometimes I will just to feel them out. And if they're not liking it, good thing I have an assortment of other materials we can work on. Like, like a retiree. If I'm doing a show in front of like a bunch of retirees, some older people, like I can I don't know, older white people, I can talk about Monopoly and the Optometrist. That'll kill.
And is that
Sure. I won't
but
talk about my sex life.
but those would be considered risk, right?
Yeah.
In a sense. And like, so if you got like, jokes geared at that demographic, do you
Mhm.
take that risk? Is it worth taking, or is it just like, because like I said, it's all
I mean,
about pushing an
mhm.
envelope.
Well, it really just depends because with that kind of crowd, they have to get to know me. So I got to talk about me for a little bit. And then if they're liking me, then I go into what I really talk about and see how
Yeah.
far I can push it. And it usually works out better like that.
Okay. They get to know you, and then they're like, all right, it's
Mhm.
fine. Whatever. She can say whatever.
Fine, little weirdo. Yeah.
And when
Yes.
you're writing and getting ready for a set, what are some of the things you consider with writing, or some of the things that you think about? Because you said you think about your life and things, but if you know you got this much time and what have you, what are some of the things you consider into writing that script, and how do you memorize it too? That's a lot to remember.
It is a lot to remember, but if you're honest with yourself about it, then you can always remember the joke.
Yeah,
Like, it lives within you. Sometimes you have to like set it up different, tweak it a little, say it a little differently, but as long as you know where you're coming from, you can do it.
you got the instinct to do it.
Wait, what?
So you have the instinct to do it because, like you said, it's within you. It comes from within, and you bring it out. So as
Yeah.
long as it's in you, you can get it done. So
Yes. I think you're breaking up.
am I? How about now?
Okay, I think you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what has been your biggest accomplishment to this point?
Biggest accomplishment?
Mm-hmm.
I think my biggest accomplishment is just that I can get on stage and act like I'm at ease. I think that's a really big accomplishment.
Absolutely. Because I'm sure you
Yeah.
have. Well, you did theater. So did you, when you switched into this, did you have any kind of stage fright? Because it's different. Theater, obviously, theater's not comedy. Theater's like
Mhm.
theater. Like you can kind
Mhm.
of, the idea of theater and comedy are opposite. Because if you're doing theater, you're supposed to zone out and act like the crowd ain't even there. Whereas
Mhm.
comedy, you have to talk directly to the crowd. So was there a sense of stage fright when you got into comedy?
Oh, yes, yes, because I was an asshole and I thought, well, I did so much theater, it's probably not I'm probably going to be fine. Like, it's the sage. It's not the same at all. Like, this is no. I was an idiot for thinking that. But but luckily, the note that I've always gotten my whole career was just like, I really like your energy. So
Yeah.
I think that came from playing music on stage, doing theater. I think that's where it came from. But every time they say that, I'm pretty sure they're just saying your jokes suck, but you're cool.
What is your biggest goal? So,
Hmm.
what are you looking to accomplish with the comedy?
Ooh, I want to like actually go into acting through all this. Like, I want to write, I want to do acting. I want to do all that
Oh, you're in the right place to get that done out there.
for sure.
And all it takes is one set of eyes.
Mhm. Just
One
that one
set,
person that
that
believes in you.
one person to say yes.
Mhm.
That one. And in the meantime, what's next for you while you transition to that?
I'm gonna do some dates in and out of California. I'll probably do a couple shows in New York too. Not sure yet.
Oh, let me
Hmm.
know. You're gonna do
Yeah, of
that.
course.
And I am impressed because I was able to at least get through just about every question. According to this, we have been on for 43 minutes. So
Woo.
I end each show with a positive ending message. So
Hmm.
that's something for you to say to the audience who's watching or who may watch this back. Just anything in general that's positive and uplifting. The floor is yours.
Fuck the haters. Tell them to suck a dick, dumb bitches. That's positive, right?
you know, Not exactly what I was expecting, but with you, always expect the unexpected. I appreciate you coming on. We have to
Thank you
stay
for
in
having me.
touch.
Of
You know,
course.
absolutely enjoy. How long you gonna be in New York?
One whole week.
A whole week. Well, maybe I can make time to run into you while
Yeah,
you're
for
here.
sure.
So maybe I'll inbox you my phone number. That way we can try and make
Yes.
it happen. You
Oh, we'll
know,
make it happen.
No, make it happen, even if it's a quick high bye, but it's got to happen.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Steph, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Tomorrow, I'll be on Urban Updates. Someone wants to talk to me for some reason. Why?
Woo-hoo.
I don't know, but that's gonna be on Instagram Live. And then Thursday, I'll be here again on StreamYard with Mr. Terrence Lamar, R&B singer, ghostwriter. Man loves Chris Brown. So, Steph, have a safe flight, and we will talk. Peace.
Yes, I'll talk to you soon, Mike. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.